Give everybody a chance to kind of come on in. Hope everyone's doing well this morning. All right. Good rising. Good rising. Hope everyone's getting notifications and all that good stuff. Just give everybody a chance to kind of come in. Little time with the family here before we start the day. Oh, there we go. Falling over. Move this over here. There we go. Beautiful. We're gonna try to do this more often. We just kind of get a chance to kind of, spend a little time with the family in the morning before we start our day. Kind of get our minds right first thing in the morning. There we go. I finally got there you go, 12. Thank you, brother. He's taking care of the chat here before me. Gave him the wrench. Gave Ancient Gardener a wrench and as well. Thank you. And Rosie, I think I gave her a wrench as well. So trying to, control the chat a little bit more and all that good stuff. So great seeing everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. No, we'll wait a little bit. I got an email yesterday from one of the subscribers, and he shared some great information about the age of justice. I think I might just do a video and kind of bring out the information. I still probably do a little bit of research on it, but how we're pretty much moving into we're in the age of justice, talking about the thing we brought out yesterday from the apocalypse of Abraham. And so it's just beautiful things are happening right now. I mean, we're seeing the end of an age, seeing the end of the age of the Gentiles. We're seeing the Most High raising up His people, and it's a beautiful thing to see right now. And with this new age, I'm seeing like certain aspects are being changed, certain things are being diminished, certain aspects of our character are rising up, are being raised up, So there's a big change that's coming. It's already here. You can already see it, Thank you. So yes, it's just a beautiful thing to see how the Most High is working, and He's changing everything. He's changing what has power, and certain things that have power before are being taken away. Ways of thinking are being changed. Shalom, sister. Shalom, brothers and sisters. It's great seeing everyone. And even like I said in the video yesterday, you really start to see to the extent that they have changed and changing things and hiding information, because really in this new age, information is key. Understanding is key, and see, in the age before, was it Pisces? It seemed to all be about the sword. It seemed to all be about, physically, having power and taking over people and stealing lands and all. That seemed to be that age, of like the age of the sword. If you kind of think of it, that was Esau's blessing, and that was his age, when he was able to go around and do all these different, horrible things, all at the tip of a sword, right? So it would kind of make sense that would be his age, and the things that, because he had his blessing, he had his time, and he was able to pretty much enforce his will on the whole world with his blessing. Okay, but now we're moving away, or moving out of that age into the age of Aquarius, correct? So since we're moving into the age of Aquarius, I'm thinking that's going to be more of your mind. You're using your intellect. Even on a spiritual sense of growing as well. And that seems to be what we're moving into right now. Moving into this new age, and it's an age of discovery, an age of knowledge, an age of understanding. So that seems to be what's going on right now. So the things that we used to hold up in high regard is losing its flavors, losing, its status. And I think that even like, if you think of it, like even like us, like a lot of us, even in the nation, we seem to put like a lot of emphasis on how hard we are, how hard we were, how hard of a life we had growing up, and how tough we are, how physically, strong we are, and this, and that. And I think that is also the mentality that we've been given from the last age, and how, being intelligent is not really, something to be, to look for, and and I think we're moving into a new, hold on. I said we're moving into a new age, so therefore the emphasis is going to change. The emphasis is going to change from the sword to your mind, to your intellect, okay? And you can already see that taking place right now. As you look at society, what do you see with society right now? So you see society collapse. Society is collapsing, but society, they have plenty of weapons. They have all the swords, they have all the nuclear weapons, they have all the guns, they have all this. They have to infinity, correct? But that's not doing anything for their society. It's not stopping the collapse of their society. You see? So there's more. So what they were able to do before in the last cycle was pretty much, enforce their will through the sword. And as you're seeing that we're moving out of that cycle, now you're starting to see that that's not really the case anymore. Everyone has weapons. Everyone has a sword. So that being able to actually enforce your will that way, isn't really going to happen. Isn't really happening right now. So now you start to look at how the Most High is enlightening his people once again. And, you see all this truth coming out. You see all this information coming out. And you're seeing how these nations have all the weapons that they want, but they can't stop the truth. They can't stop knowledge and understanding. You see? And now that we're getting, the Most High's opening our eyes and he's letting us get out of that, that little area where everyone else is stuck in, you're starting to see how, to the extent that they have hidden information, hidden understanding. And another subscriber sent me an email, and I'm going to add a few of these emails, this information into probably a video later on today, Most High willing, talking about the one book that I shared in the last video about the history of the Anglo-Saxons. And I guess the subscriber had found the 3rd edition and shared with me the stuff that I read in the book was totally different in the 3rd edition than from the book that I have. I think I have the 2nd edition. I mean, they totally just took all this information and hid it and got rid of it. And so it's like they've gone through, and the thing is, if you got to think of it, like back then, very few people were reading this information anyways. Okay, they were not trying to read all this information. So therefore, were they really trying to hide it from the people back then, or were they trying to hide this information knowing that they were coming to the end of their age, coming to the end of Pisces, and we're going to be going into Aquarius, and they knew that the Most High was going to be raising up his people to understand, to have understanding once again. So therefore, in order to be stumbling blocks, to try to get in the way of this awakening, they've been hiding all this information. And you just start to see like how many roadblocks, man. I said it's crazy for reading books and getting understanding how many roadblocks have been set up. I said it's just amazing to see. So I'm taking a look at some of the comments. Shalom, family. It's great seeing you guys. Great seeing everyone. We are definitely the Celts. We're the Druids, we're the Celts. I said, now we're going to get into more information. I said, once you get into Paul and Acts 29, it was funny because someone says Acts 29 is not in the Bible. Yeah, that was the whole point of the video, that they've taken all these things out. But someone says, that's not in the Bible. Well, that's the whole thing. That's what we have to understand, that many of the things that you think are, this is the Word of God, this is it, has been tampered with. They've hidden so much information. They've hidden all this information. They've hidden everything. So when you're saying things like, the Bible is the Word of God, okay, it's the incomplete Word of God. That's not like the Most High stopped talking. These guys, I mean, that there alone, just Acts 29, and the fact that it was preserved in a, you know, in Constantinople, the enemies of the Christians, and they're the ones that kept all this information. I said that just lets you know that they've tampered with it. So therefore, you've got a lot of missing information. So you can't sit here and tell people, you know, that you have the whole Word of God when it's very evident that they've taken out so much information. Why? And you gotta look at their motivation as to why they took that out. Why would you take out Acts 29? Well, when you read it, you start to see, that's the connection between the Israelites that you read about in the Israelites that you read about in the Bible, and then their workings and their other things that they were doing in other parts of the world. And they don't want you to realize that you had a dominant culture that was spread worldwide. We were not just spreading information in the so-called Middle East. Our information was worldwide. Even in the fourth part, you know, we talked about that in how we had colleges and that we were sending out priests. I'm sure people were coming over and they were getting understanding from our colleges. That's why all over the world they talk about the Mayaks. And the Mayaks are the Mayans, and they always talk about them and wisdom and power. You know, and that's the whole thing. You know, it's like that's what we're moving into, an age of wisdom. So, and if you look back into history, who were the ones that were, you know, regarded as being the wise? The Israelites. You know, why is that? Because the Most High chose us. You know, someone had written a whole dissertation in one of the comments about, well, God gave us all spirits and we're all equal, we're all the same. I'm like, no, we're not, man. I said, that's the whole thing you guys don't understand. We all have different spirits put in. We might look the same. We might have these bodies, you know, I said, but they are just carrying around different spirits. And these spirits are, you know, on different levels. We don't all have the same spirits, okay? We're not all equal. I said, because we were running around, you know, in these bodies, doesn't mean that we're the same, because we're not. Yeah, we definitely have agents. Yes. Okay. Just checking. I checked out some of these comments here, but you know, like I said, something that kind of goes with that. I listened to Brother Main's video, and he was talking about Allah, and he's talking about the 5-pointed star. And I never realized this before, but like Allah goes with the 5-pointed star, and it means what did he say? Arm, leg, arm, head. And I have like a picture of one of these 5-pointed stars on one of the books, okay? Like this one right here, okay? And it's got the 5-pointed star right there. And you know, and they always say, oh, it's evil, it's evil. And like I had my Houston hat, and some guy tried to make oh, what's that 5-pointed star? I mean about this and that. Well, like I said, you go into the arm, leg, arm, head. So I never saw it like that, but I was like, hey, that makes like a lot of sense, you know? And, you know, you kind of just get on the word Allah from jump, and people will just go straight negative right from jump because, you know, oh, it's a different religion, and that's Islam, and, you know, and that's, you know, that's a religion that we don't deal with, and blah, 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 you know? And so, you know, it's just, you really have to open your mind and be willing to understand all this information and be able to ingest it, you know, because like I said, there's just so much that's been hidden, you know. Yeah, so it's just kind of crazy. It does make sense, right? I said I'd never heard that before, and I listened to Brother Main's video. He was talking about that and bringing that out. You know, like I said, you know, you get information from everywhere. So you start. I never thought about that with the whole 5-pointed star. You know what I'm saying? And it totally looks like you've seen the pictures where they have the man's arms out and his legs out and the head. I said, so it actually makes like a whole lot of sense. You know, and this one actually, in our title, it says Tetragrammaton. Okay, right here. This is the mysteries of magic. We're gonna be getting into this. There's a lot of information, and it's got a lot of biblical information that, you know, a lot of people just, you know, they'll see this and they won't even get into it. They won't even, oh, I'm not gonna read that, that's evil, you know. Like I said, there's a whole lot of learning that we need to do, a whole lot of unlearning that we need to do, you know. I said because there's just so much information, you know. It kind of gets like to be information overload. But that is the age that we're moving into. You know, I said that is the age, and anyone that says, you know, that this is the fullness, this is all the information, you know, it's like, you gotta understand, man, there's so much more. You know, I said that the Most High is blessing us with. There's just so much more. And like a lot of these are just, a lot of times, a lot of it is just a lot of roadblocks to keep you from continuing to learn. But we are now in a new age, you know, and the brother was talking about, you know, 2022 really being 2012, which I totally agree with. I said, because you start to look at how things are, you know, progressing. You start looking at how bad things are. Yeah, I believe information is infinity. Exactly. I mean, the Most High is, you know, unfathomable. So it would make sense then that, you know, that information, like I said, depending on what it is that you have the capacity to learn, you know, whatever you have the capacity to learn, and whatever capacity the Most High has put on you, you know, I said that is exactly what I said, that's exactly what you're going to continue to work on. You know, I mean, if you only have a capacity to get to elementary school, then that's where you'll stay. If you have capacity to go to junior high or high school, that's where you'll go. If you have the capacity to go to college or, you know, postgraduate, you know, I'm just talking about their terms, I go, that's where you'll go. You're always going to go back to your source, wherever you came from. Exactly. We never stop growing. We're always growing. Exactly. Because I don't believe in staying stagnant. If you're stagnant, you're falling behind. Because then if you're being stagnant, that means someone else is growing and someone's getting that much further ahead of you. 911 homes burned. 91 homes destroyed by the fire. I mean, that's crazy in Colorado. You know, it's winter. And they're having wildfires right now that are just burning almost 1,000 homes. I like that. Lifetime of learning is literally, that is true. Definitely have like a lifetime of learning going on right now. Higher frequencies, and then so in certain things, you know, bring down your frequency, and it's just really not worth the time to engage in those kinds of activities, because they said it brings down your frequency and it keeps you from learning. It keeps you from following the Most High. But you got to understand, like, that's what this whole society has been set up to do. It's been set up to keep us from learning, keep us from, you know, chasing the Father. You know, definitely vibing high, you know, like 432 the drop talks about. You know, I totally agree with that. You know, keeping your frequencies up, not letting certain things come into your life that bring down your frequency. You know, I can feel like when like negative things are happening, I can feel like my frequency going down. I can feel like you know, tired, you know, mentally drained, you know, and it just keeps me, and then I'm not motivated to study and do things that I need to do. But, you know, like I said, a lot of these signs, we'll be getting into a lot of these signs that, you know, you see like in books, you see like in art and things like that, and how like we had those signs. These guys have gotten all these signs from us, and it's like they make it seem like it's evil if you use these signs. Like I said, like the Freemasons use certain signs, and it's like, and they're coming to find out, we start reading these books, that, dude, these signs were already in play with our people. You gotta understand, like, this is the way society is now. They just copied what we'd had. You had the, you know, the regular people at the bottom who really are just kind of just going through the motions and don't really know too much, but they're just content going through the motions. Then you got people who have a lot more understanding. They're like, oh, much higher up, and then they're into much deeper things. And now you kind of understand like why some of this stuff isn't shared. So, because sometimes when you share it, if people aren't capable of accepting it, then they attack. You know, so like I said, just it's all about lessons and learning as we're all growing and we're all learning. You know, all these different things. You know, this is a book that Kurumail had shared, and was talking about the whole thing when he was talking about in the Chaldees. This is one of the other books that he read. Phoenicians, Origin of Britons and Anglo-Saxons by L.A. Waddell. Now I'm going to show you guys the cover, but check out the bottom there. You see the swastika right there. Now, you already know 99% or well, I don't want to say 99%. Let's say 90% of the population or whatever else is going to see that sign and think of Germany and think of Hitler and think of, all these negative things. But now that we know about that sign, like everything's going to the right, like it's supposed to be right there. Okay. And we already did a video talking about, the swastika and what it meant, everything going to the right, like it's like solar deity. I said so, and that was something that was actually venerated by the Druids. And so we already know about that one, about the triangle, and the triune nature of the Most High, the Creator, the Preserver, okay, and the Destroyer. We already know about the, Most High, Yahweh Shai, and the Mother. I said so. He said but when you see certain signs, you just have certain kinds of negative things you think about, And there's something that's actually in a lot of art, and that I've noticed. It's called the sign of preservation. And I want to say it's your right hand over your heart and your left arm, like making like a 90-degree angle. Okay. And when you do this, like you're like asking for, it's like a sign of preservation. It's like when you're praying, you can do like these kinds of signs and kinds of things are signs of preservation. And these are like some of the signs that you'll see like in a lot of artwork. You see with Quetzalcoatl, there was a picture of him when he got shot with an arrow, and he's making the sign of preservation. And once you know what to look for, like the sign, you see it in a lot of art. You see it in a lot of books, and I'll try to bring out some more. And I'll try to bring out some more of that information as well. Sign of distress is like two hands up like this, so that's like a sign of distress. And so you get your sign of preservation, you get your sign of distress, and what you'll see that in a lot of art. You'll see that in a lot of books, and you'll see that. I said a lot of statues and things like that. And then what happened was, I think they came over here, like these guys, these Freemasons or whatever else came over here, and they have a lot of these signs, and they see that these signs were written, they were already put up on the walls. They were already like in statues, and they'd already had a lot of these signs, things like that for a long time. Now, something I'm trying to figure out is like, okay, with a sign of preservation, when you're doing this, when you pray, instead of praying like this, should you also be praying like this? Should you be saying like the sign of preservation while you're praying for the Most High to preserve us? Those are kinds of things that, like, how do you apply this information? We got to get to the point where we are applying the things that we learn. So it's not just about learning it, but it's also about application. We're trying to apply these things, these signs and symbols and things like that, because these guys didn't get these signs and symbols on their own. They didn't come up with this stuff on their own. And every time people say, a lot of people say, oh, well, that's why, we were destroyed, because we were doing these things. How do you know that's why we were destroyed? How do you know that by making certain signs, that was the reason why we got destroyed? See, that's something, again, that your oppressors are going to tell you certain things, because they don't want you to make these connections back to the things that we did before. We weren't all, everything we did wasn't evil. Everything that we did before wasn't wrong, because we were taught a lot of these things. Okay, we were taught by the Most High. These were things that were, that were handed down to us. And now we're trying our best to go back and figure out these certain things and then apply them once again to our lives in order to, get the power, get the understanding, and things like that. So I'm definitely trying to figure out, like I said, when you see Quetzalcoatl in these positions and things like that, and that's supposed to be a representation of Yahweh Shai over here, bringing the truth and things like that. And he's got these certain signs. It's like you can read more into things that you see once you understand these signs. So that's something to kind of think about, like, hey, definitely put that in the comment board. Think about that yourself. Like, do you think that we should be doing these certain kinds of signs? Like I said, if we're in distress, which, Israel's been in distress and we're still in distress, should we, not raising your hands? You know what? It makes sense. Like in the churches, people, when they're praying, they are, when they're praying a lot of times, they have their hands up in the air, but you're making like that's like a sign of distress. So like if you're in distress, people do that already in the churches. You see, they kind of do that kind of stuff, and you don't even realize that, right? So if you got a sign of distress and you're feeling distress and you put your hands up and you're praying to the Most High, that's like making a sign of distress and you're praying. So preservation, if we want to be preserved by the Most High, especially going through the things we're going through now, should we be praying and right hand here and doing it? I mean, those are certain kinds of things, the things we need to think about. I'm still trying to figure out the exact thing as far as like clasping our hands together while we pray. Is that saying something different? You know what I mean? And so maybe, I already know probably we got some Israelites that are already know about this kind of stuff and probably be bringing out understanding that we weren't sure of before. So I already know we got Israelites here that already know about this stuff. So bring that out. Put that in the comment board. Share that. Put it in now if you guys can. Because like I said, it's all about order. There's certain things that, like, if you want a certain outcome, there's certain steps you have to do to get to those certain kinds of outcomes. As I said, I don't think it's always as easy as just, yeah, you can definitely ask, but if the Most High tells you, okay, well, if you want this, you need to do this, 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 and that. Just like in Tobit, when, with the fish, there's certain things that he had to do in order to get the desired outcome. Is that how it's going to be for us as well right now? There's certain things that we want. If we want to be preserved, we're definitely going to pray. We're going to talk to the Most High. But does this enhance it? You know what I mean? Does this enhance the prayer? That's something to kind of think about. People talk about wands, and a lot of people say things negative about it, but it's like, does that amplify our prayers? You see what I'm saying? Like I said, it's not that you're using it and that you have to have it in order for things to happen. It's an amplification. Just like when you're using stones and crystals, does amplify certain things. Definitely when you're clearing your chakras and things like that. Some people don't believe in it. That's fine. Some people think that it's evil. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But that's you. Like I said, there's plenty of us who have a totally opposite, feeling of these certain things. So, so I'm not going to let another man dictate what I do as far as like what I learn. And if people, in my whole life, man, people have tried to make jokes and joke about certain things that you do and things like that. I'm like, whatever, man. You know what I'm saying? You can say whatever you want. And that's kind of like how they keep people in line. When I was in college playing ball, you always got the clowns on the team. They're always, just bagging on each other. Always got something to say. Always got something negative to say. Always want to make a joke and everything else. I say that's nothing new. So those kinds of things that you deal with and all the time. All of us have had those kinds. We got those cousins. You got those friends. Everything's a joke, and it is what it is. Exactly the whole thing from Africa. We're not all from Africa, but see, that's all things that the other nations have given us and told us that that's how it is, and this is the only truth, and don't search anything else out. You can use Babylon of Timbuktu, but don't read any other books. Just read that one, because that one actually supports our narrative about all you guys coming from Africa. You know what I'm saying? It's funny how certain people will say don't read another book, but then when they find a little piece in it that supports their narrative, then all of a sudden that book's okay. You know what I mean? So it's like, you got to, you can't like pick and choose which books you want to approve and which ones you want to use, and then which ones you say for sure are off limits. Definitely yoga. A sister actually from, I think she's over in Europe, she was actually talking about yoga, and she was talking about how she sent me a really nice message, and it was like about how we really helped her to make these connections. Like she was just wondering about how all these teachings from yoga came from, but now that she's getting this information about our people and things like that, it's all starting to make sense. They got all that information from us. These people with the yoga and the stretching, I heard that all the time in the church. When I was, I did like a lot of yoga years ago. And, you hear people, videos, oh, yoga, that just opens you up for demons, and that opens you up for this, and don't do that. And it's like, wow. I guess me going and praying to white Jesus doesn't open me up to demons. But yeah, yoga's definitely going to do that, right? Right? Me going to church on, me celebrating Christmas and everything else, and doing Thanksgiving and all that other BS. That's not going to open me up for spirits. But hey, yoga's is over the top, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, that's why I can't trust anything that they say. And anybody just regurgitates what they say, I don't trust you either. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so stretching is now a gateway to demons getting into my body. You know what I'm saying? That just shows you when you really don't have anything to really back up what you say, you just pull out the devil card. You pull out you're going to get demons in you, and this is not. If you're a child of the Most High, and He's got you, why would you think demons are going to get into you? You know what I mean? By stretching. So if I just stretch, but I don't call it yoga, then it's okay. Is that what you mean? You know what I mean? So it's just like, and same thing with crystals. And I'm like, Most High put these things here. He put the crystals here. He put these rocks that have these vibrations, these tuning forks and things like that, to get your body, back together. The Most High is the one that gave us all that. He gave us all these different beautiful things here to correct our bodies, so that we don't have to go, to other things in order to be able to, to fix ourselves. I said my family's gone to an iridologist, where she just looks into your eyes and she can tell you like your blood pressure. She can tell you your cholesterol. She can tell you what's wrong with this. She can tell you about the inflammation of your heart, inflammation of this. She can tell you all these different things just by looking in your eyes. Now, that seems like certain things that our people were definitely good with a long time ago, because that was always, and this woman's gone to school for this. She's gotten trained on how to do all this stuff. Where does she get all this information from? Exactly. Each tribe given a stone. Exactly. I mean, so it's like there's all this stuff that was given to our people, but we have been taught to shun it and stay away from it and depend on the Gentiles to tell us how to take care of ourselves. And you got to see how things are going right now as far as the society is concerned, as far as all that is concerned. It's like I said, it's an eye-opening experience, but you got to take this awakening and apply it to many different facets of our lives. The awakening is not just about the Bible and that's it. But that's what they want us to believe, that the awakening was pretty much just about one little book, one thing, and not about awakening to all the other things that are going on around us that our enemies is still in control of. But like I said in the last video, I don't want a piece of the awakening. I want all of it. And that's just me. I ain't speaking for other people, but I'm speaking for myself. I want all of the awakening. I don't want just a little piece of it. I don't want just, hey, okay, I'm Israel. Yay, all right. No, there's more to it than just that. You know what I'm saying? I want to know my lands. I want my language. I want our heritage. I want our families back. I want the way things used to be before. You know what I'm saying? I want it all. I want to be the head again. I'm sick and tired of being the tail. Sick and tired of all the things that we have to do. I'm sick and tired of people seem to think that they can just ignore the truth and ignore facts, and then continue living lies and thinking that that we all need to just conform and live and accept all the lies. I said, that's cool for you. You guys can do that as long as you were still in this age of Pisces and you guys can live oblivious to everything. I said, but many of us don't want that. We want it all. We want everything to be going back to the way it used to be, and Most High willing, we'll be here to see that. But all praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who was wisdom, who was Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom, family.